Tonight at 9, loved ones are speaking out after Galveston police say a mother was shot and killed, authorities say, by her daughter. Fox 26's Leslie Delasport spoke with the family about how they're processing the pain.
A 16-year-old is now in custody facing murder charges, according to Galveston police, who say she allegedly shot and killed her mother, 34-year-old Tiamoya Moore. One family member told me she's not only heartbroken, but confused.
The last couple of days, I've been feeling like I'm losing my mind. I was questioning, like, why? Why would you do this to your own mama? I just can't believe she's gone, for real.
When you got the news,
I was devastated. Devastated. Didn't want to believe it. Tia will give you the shirt literally off of her back. Tia loved her kids, would do anything for her kids. She was very spiritual, very into God, changed her life around for God. I just want to know what really, what caused for that to get to this point to where you had to take your own mama's life.
Galveston police say just before 8, they responded here to Avenue Q, where they found the 34-year-old down on her porch with multiple gunshot wounds.
The suspect, it was reported at the time by witnesses that the suspect had fled the scene. While the location in the 5100 block of Avenue Q was an ongoing crime scene, at some point while investigators were there and performing their investigative duties, the suspect came back up on location, and she was taken into custody at that time.
Alicia tells me the family is processing this loss, including Tiamoya's other 4 children who are now without a big sister and a mom.
If a child is troubled, then a child is troubled. You can only help them so much. I was so mad at first, but as I got to talking to people and actually just thinking about what might have really happened, or mental health is real. It's gonna take me a lifetime to get over this.
Galveston police say the 16-year-old is in custody without bond. Reporting in Galveston, Leslie Delasport, Fox 26 News.
So tomorrow, students will head back to class at Lincoln Middle School in Berwyn after a truly terrifying crime right outside of the building. The school's assistant principal was shot and killed, one of 3 people dead in a tragedy that has shaken that school and truly the entire neighborhood. Police say it was a domestic incident. NBC5's JC Navarrete live in Berwyn tonight, talking with students and with parents about the grief they're facing right now. JC?
Hey there, Stefan, and so much emotion was on full display. And today we also learned more about the crime, but the victim itself, we're learning tonight from her sibling that assistant principal was shot and killed by her own husband.
They're my family, and I mean, it's a horrible thing. I have a lot of emotions. I don't quite know what to feel.
A family ripped apart by gunfire, just feet from Lincoln Middle School in Berwyn. Among the dead, assistant principal Narissa Lee. Balloons, flowers, and candles now line the street as students and parents pay their respects. Lee's life cut short Tuesday afternoon, shot inside a car. Her husband, Stephen Lee, dying of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Her sister says the mother was also killed inside that vehicle.
This didn't come out of the blue. It had started ever since, I want to say, the tail end of June. And basically the boiling point would have been yesterday.
Wednesday, a clear picture of the violence. Nearby security video captures more than a dozen rounds fired. Police call it a domestic situation. Students now grappling with the loss. One told me she felt safe around Lee. Another, with her mother's permission, said she'll miss her laugh.
I always saw her laughing with the other people, and she would laugh so hard that I didn't understand the joke, but I would also laugh.
Her commitment to students, clear to anyone who knew her.
She was always about her work. She sounded like she really loved her school, really loved her kids. So she was all about what she needed to do.
Again, classes do resume tomorrow right behind me here at Lincoln Middle School. And you can see how much that memorial here has grown over the past couple of hours. Police continue to investigate what may have even led up to this shooting in the first place. And we do now know that counselors will be on hand for anyone that may need them. Stefan?
Yeah, just an emotional moment for so many people involved there. JC Navarrete in Berwyn, we appreciate the update. Thank you so much.
So far this year, 13 bodies have been discovered in Houston bayous. 4 of them were found this week alone. The body of missing 20-year-old University of Houston student Jade McKissick was found along Brays Bayou.
Others were recovered near Greens Bayou, White Oak Bayou, and Buffalo Bayou. As Houston police investigate these cases, Fox 26's Julian Hartman spoke with a local constable who says this spike is unusual.
Several bodies have been recovered in the bayous in just 1 week. So in your experience, 4 bodies in 1 week, is that unusual?
Usually you don't find 4 bodies in the bayou in a week.
Does this raise any red flags for law enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, I think clearly when you have bodies starting to show up in bayous, it's always a concern for us because we obviously got to determine how the bodies got there, what was the cause of death, was it foul play, was it suicide, was it an accident, kind of what the circumstances were that caused the death of the person. So I'm sure the Houston Police Department is well underway of trying to determine the cause of death and taking the appropriate necessary investigative leads to go and solve the case.
You can understand a lot of people have questions, they have concerns after hearing this news this week. A lot of people are making assumptions about these discoveries.
I think it's a bad idea to make assumptions about anything because it's too early in the investigation to determine what took place. That's why we have an Institute of Forensic Sciences that will do autopsies on these bodies and determine the cause of death. And the Houston Police Department is very capable of doing a great investigation on these matters. So from our perspective, don't rush to any conclusions, don't speculate. Let law enforcement do what law enforcement does, and we'll hopefully we'll have some answers.
A lot of people use these trails. What's your advice to folks that like to walk, bike, or run along the bayous?
I mean, you have to be aware of your surroundings. That's the single biggest thing. Stay in well-lit areas if you're going to run at night. Run with a friend, run with a family member, run with somebody that you trust. If you're running alone and you have earbuds in, take one out, leave one out the whole time so you can ensure that if anybody's coming near you or walking up on you, that you will hear them. Make sure that you can have yourself tracked by people that love and care for you, and they'll be able to see where you are on the trail. They would be able to see if you went into the water.
All right, that was Julian Hartman reporting.
A woman from Scotland murdered here in L.A. after moving to the U.S. to become a lawyer.
It happened earlier this month. Her husband now in custody as the prime suspect. Eyewitness News reporter Annabelle Munoz joins us live in studio with what we know about this so far. Annabelle?
Michelle and Mark, her family has identified her, and according to a GoFundMe page, 37-year-old June Bunyan moved to the U.S. from the U.K. to pursue her dream of becoming a defense attorney. They're now asking for help to repatriate her remains.
Friendly, funny, and really kind are a few of the words one neighbor used to describe the 37-year-old woman whose remains were found in her Hollywood apartment, identified by loved ones as June Bunyan. Authorities have charged 25-year-old Jonathan Renteria with murder and mutilation of human remains. Court records identify the victim as June Renteria and state she and the defendant were married for 1 year and shared a 1-month-old baby. The documents allege Renteria was found in a Ventura County hotel room bleeding with a wound to his forearm and with a note admitting to killing his wife. Prosecutors say that in a recorded interview, Renteria said he had an argument with the victim about her, quote, failure to lose weight following her pregnancy, and that she began packing and told him she would never let him see his daughter again. It goes on to say that he admits to putting the victim in a rear naked chokehold and killing her. The documents were filed to urge the court to set Renteria's bail to $4 million, which the court granted. According to the filing, the victim was last seen alive on September 4th, and Renteria was seen the following day leaving with the baby in the middle of the night and then hours later holding garbage bags. Prosecutors say he dropped off the child at his parents' home and accuse him of dismembering his wife's body. The neighbor we spoke with says Bunyan had confided in her, describing an abusive relationship, and that neighbor says she warned Bunyan she feared he would kill her. According to a website believed to be the victim's paralegal business, she was a foreign-educated attorney who aimed to help lawyers protect non-citizen clients in cases at the intersection of criminal and immigration law. The GoFundMe page describes her as compassionate and states that her proudest achievement was earning her law degree.
The GoFundMe page states they are raising money so that she can be repatriated to the UK and laid to rest with love and dignity. Meantime, Renteria is due back in court for a preliminary hearing in November. Mark and Michelle, we believe he's pleaded not guilty.
Wow. So data we know shows that domestic violence is on the rise across our country, especially against women. What resources are there out there if there's someone watching this that needs help?
Right. You know, this case is ongoing. This investigation continues. But for anyone who may need some of these resources, one of them is the National Domestic Violence Hotline.
Developing first at 5, a man is now charged with killing a woman and her 1-year-old baby boy. The Berks County District Attorney announcing additional murder charges against 61-year-old Jose Rodriguez. He'd previously been charged with killing the victim's husband, Junior Cabrera Colon. Investigators laying out the horrific timeline before each member of the family is killed. This is the 5 o'clock news. I'm Jason Martinez, and we do want to warn you, these details are just incredibly upsetting and hard to hear. But you may remember the mother and son were reported missing earlier this month, and then just days later, their bodies were found. Kelly, you were there for today's painful announcement. What are you learning?
Yeah, Jason, that's right. Extremely painful to hear. The investigators did say today this is still an active investigation, but did say there was some sort of intimate relationship between the defendant and one of the 3 victims, and clearly something went wrong. The DA said the defendant did confess to all 3 murders. He called this case extremely difficult and said they are looking at possibly pursuing the death penalty.
Unfortunately, in our jobs, we deal with bad things all the time. This is a different level.
For the first time, the Berks County District Attorney outlining the horrific timeline of the murders of 31-year-old Junior Cabrera Colon, his wife, 31-year-old Geraldina Peguero Manciba, and their 1-year-old son, Jaden Junior Peguero, allegedly at the hands of 61-year-old Jose Rodriguez. The DA says he confessed to all 3 murders.
The loss of life of these adults that were killed was unnecessary. The loss of life of that 1-year-old was cruel. It was horrible.
The DA's office announced the arrest of Rodriguez for the murder of Junior last week. Investigators say he was shot in the head, found early on September 13th in the brush along River Road in Bear Park, where there is now a growing memorial.
That is the investigation that started all of this, the finding of the body in Bear Park. But it was actually the last murder that he committed.
The DA says Reading police learned that no one had heard from Junior's wife and their 1-year-old son since the day before, September 12th. Cell phone records led them to an access road off East Holler Lane in Ontalani Township, where they found Geraldina's body, and days later, not far away, they found Jaden in a shallow pond. The DA says Rodriguez and Geraldina had some sort of intimate relationship, meeting at least a year ago when they worked in a warehouse together, and he was infuriated that she would not leave her husband and was taking his money. The DA says Rodriguez admitted to picking Geraldina and Jaden up on September 12th with the intention to kill her, and that he shot Geraldina once in the back of the head and threw Jaden in nearby muddy water.
I can't imagine anything more horrifying than throwing that 1-year-old child into that pond of water, and that child is left there to die.
Rodriguez allegedly told investigators he shot Junior near his last listed address on Center Avenue when Junior confronted him about his involvement with Geraldina.
Mr. Rodriguez had no prior criminal history, so something happened. No matter what, No one deserved to die.
The DA said today investigators recovered substantial video evidence as well as physical evidence that Rodriguez actually led them to, including a gun as well as some of Geraldina's belongings. Now, Rodriguez told investigators he acted alone, but part of their active and ongoing investigation is to determine if anybody else was involved. Jason.
Kelly Rule there. Thank you very much, Kelly.
This afternoon, we are uncovering some new information about the Amber Alert that unfolded last night in Brunswick. And I'm sorry, this is some really hard information to take in, but it triggered a multi-state search for a 7-year-old boy who police say was taken and abused by his own mother. Natalie Clydesdale is with us live now with how investigators were able to track her down. And they did so rather quickly, did they not, Natalie?
That's absolutely right, Christy. And police say this is still a very active investigation. But like you said, last night officers were able to track down the suspect, Teorica Bayman, and her son in Ross Township, which is just north of Pittsburgh. Now, according to Lieutenant Chris Spencer with the Brunswick Police Department, on Sunday evening, they got a call from an FBI office out of North Carolina. The FBI said there were concerning videos posted by Bayman, who lives in Brunswick, of her allegedly abusing her child. This sparked an immediate investigation. Multiple agencies tracked Bayman's cell phone, discovering she was headed toward Pennsylvania, and the Amber Alert was activated. Ross Township police found Bayman's car in a secluded area. Officers say she was asleep in the driver's seat with a gun on her lap, and the boy was in the back seat. He was taken to a hospital with serious injuries, including possible broken bones and marks on his wrist, potentially from being tied up. Meanwhile, Bayman was taken to Alleghenies County Jail in Pittsburgh, and Lieutenant Chris Spencer praised all agencies that helped out to quickly find this boy and get him to safety.
Everybody was heightened when the information came about. The amount of individuals from all the agencies that came here was just overwhelming, and the help that they provided, as well as the public too, was just a great asset.
Brunswick police charged Bayman with felony-level child endangering and say within the next few days, more charges are expected to be filed. She's also facing charges out of Pennsylvania. Tonight at 5 o'clock, we'll hear from the Ross Township Chief of Police. Christy.
It is just it's so frightening. Natalie, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And so glad that he's
Port Huron man accused of shooting 3 of his kids and killing one of them was arraigned today. Welcome to CBS News Detroit at 5. I'm Terrence Friday.
I'm Shayna Humphreys. You saw it as breaking news last Thursday when police responded to the Glenview Gardens apartments after reports of gunshots. CBS News Detroit's Jack Springate joins us live from the Port Huron District Courthouse with an update.
Well, Shayna, 44-year-old Jeffrey Smear appeared in court today via Zoom, where he learned that he's being charged with homicide, 2 counts of assault with intent to murder, 2 more counts of first-degree child abuse, and 5 different gun charges. This video, filmed moments after police arrived to arrest Smear, he appeared in court Tuesday via Zoom to hear those charges, half of which carry max sentences of life in prison. He's accused of murdering his 17-year-old son. He's also accused of shooting his 12-year-old daughter, who families say is now paralyzed from the neck down, and his 13-year-old son, who is now in stable condition, according to police. We've previously reported he was out on bond for an unrelated indecent exposure charge when the shooting happened. The severity of the charges, coupled with the fact he was out on bond for another crime when this all happened, were big factors in the judge's decision to deny bond in this case.
He's got a criminal record. As was stated on the record, he was awaiting sentencing on indecent exposure. He's now being held without bond. There's also, the court also looks at the history of court appearances. It's been reported that he's had some history of not reporting.
While Smear didn't appear in person, the mother of the victims did. She was not available for comment. Now, the judge did set 2 future hearing dates. Smear will be back in court for a probable cause conference a week from now. That's Tuesday, September 23rd at 10 a.m. And then he'll also be back in court a week after that for a preliminary exam. That's for Tuesday, September 30th at 10 a.m. Reporting in Port Huron, I'm Jack Springate, CBS News, Detroit.
Yeah, we'll continue following this case. Thank you, Jack.